because oftentimes people get on social media and try to act like they have it all together. Um, Oftentimes people get on social media and try to act like there's nothing going on in their life. And I've never been that type. So I'm actually about to I'm about to turn my phone on work. I'm about to go live on Facebook. Hold on, y'all. 1 second. Cause I really gotta get this out. And what I don't want to do is hold anything back. I'm really not in the business of holding stuff back anyways. So I just want to make sure that I have everything together on here. Um, so that I can go live on not only YouTube but also Facebook. And I want all of my viewers to understand where I'm at right now, my walk with God. Like, like I said, everything I have going on. I want my viewers to understand what's going on with me. So, hold on, let me see. Where's my bookshelf? Um, no. So, I just wrote a book. Vendor account. Okay, I just wrote a book, and this book that I wrote is not only about my life, but it's also about trusting God throughout your storms, throughout everything that you're going through. Just, I really dive deep into the things that He saved me from and the things that He's still pulling me through. Um, I did write this book last year, but I published it this year. Um, okay, I'm just trying to make sure I find. Um, Trying to find, because I just published my book on Barnes and Noble actually, and I'm trying to find the link to it so I can share the link on my Facebook. Okay. But yeah, see, I already got that information in, so I don't need to do that again. I'm having trouble finding. I'm on the website, but I'm having trouble finding what I'm trying to find. So please bear with me. Oh, okay, that's why I can't find it, because it's still not ready for sale. Okay. Okay. So I'm about to make my coffee, and then we're gonna get started. I have to add this link on Facebook. And I know y'all, I should have already had this already up before I started my live. But it was just a pressure I was having to get on live and to talk to you guys about this. So, um, okay. Transparency. Oh. Okay. Now, I'm ready. I'm live on both Facebook and YouTube. Hi, Facebook. Hi, YouTube. Okay, so my name is Rosie. As my followers already know, I just wrote a book called Faith, Family, Freedom, the Rosie Experience. And in my book, I outline not only the domestic violence that I endured, but I also outline my life in general, my background, the type of household that I grew up in, my parents, the things that they went through as children. Like, I outline all of that. I also outline how important the music that you listen to and the shows that you watch is to the way that you allow people to treat you and talk to you. Like, I outline all of these different things in my book. But the main point that I really stress in my book is, in order for you to go from a victim mindset to a victorious mindset, you first have to understand that you do have a victim mindset. if you continue to blame the men or the women in your life or your family members, and you never actually take accountability for the fact that you're the common denominator. You're the one who keeps winding up in these situations. Yeah, they might be doing things to you, but who's winding up in the situations for somebody to keep hurting them? It's you every time. So since you're the common denominator, you need to figure out why you're continually going through these things and why the same thing keeps happening to you. And in my book, I'm not even gonna lie, I dive deep into things that I accepted, the way that I looked at myself, the way that I talked to myself, the way that I treated myself, and in turn allowed people to treat me. In my book, I in no way, shape, or form blame anybody for what I went through. I talk about the truth. You said denominator? Yeah, the common denominator. So what that means, I'm not sure if you're like, if you know what it means or not. So what a common denominator is, so you know with the fraction, you have a numerator and a denominator. And so if the denominator is the same, you can add the fractions together. If it's not, you got to break it down. So let's say it's 1/4 plus 2/4. You can easily add that and it'll be 3/4. But if it's 1/2 plus 1/4, you'll then have to break that fourth. No, you'll have to break that half down into fourths so that you can add it and know that it equals 3/4. So if you are the common denominator in your situations, you're the same. It's a different person, a different number on top, but it's you at the bottom every time. I get that you got it, but since you asked that question, somebody else probably didn't get it. That's why I'm still breaking it down. So it's a different person that you're dealing with, but you have the same situation happening every time because you're the common denominator. I don't remember where I was going before that. But basically, what I was getting at is I had to dive deep into, okay, what is Rosemary allowing to happen to Rosemary? How does Rosemary even feel about Rosemary? You're welcome. Like, that was one thing I really had to sit there and ask myself. How does Rosemary even feel about Rosemary? Because I thought I was cool, you know? Like, I've been a social media influencer for years, and I didn't even start out trying to be an influencer. I honestly just love to take pictures. I grew up in a household where my dad, he used to go to the Showtime at Apollo, so he loved to sing, he loved to record. So my dad used to record us singing and dancing. All of my siblings, we all can dance, we all can sing, we all have fun. So we have like multiple videos of us doing stuff like that since we were kids. So I love that type of stuff because that's what my parents did. My mama can blow. My daddy can blow. They both can dance. So I grew up in a household where we was dancing and singing all the time. That was what we did. So when I got on social media, it wasn't hard for me. Creating content is not hard for me. I've had to help so many people break out of the shell of being scared to create content because I've never had an issue. I went to school for theater. I'm a trained thespian. I've been doing theater since I was a little kid. My sister used to write plays and we would perform them for our family. I did theater in elementary, middle school, in high school. I became a thespian. I took every single acting class possible. I went to Hollywood and performed. I got accepted into a school in Hollywood. I went to WSU for theater performance. So I've done a lot of stuff like that. So content creating was never an issue for me. I've never been scared to do it. But when I started to talk about my life, like what was actually going on internally on social media, that was a different thing for me because it was not acting. It was me really telling what was going on in my life. And a lot of people might feel like it's easy, but it's not. Because first of all, you deal with the backlash of the people that have done it to you. When you talk about your life on social media, it's not just the, oh, she loves to talk about her life. No, you literally are breaking bonds and relationships with the people who are doing it to you. I've had family members do certain stuff to me, and then if I talk about what they did, they'll get mad at me for talking about it. But it's like, first of all, I'm a social media influencer, but also I'm very real. So if I can talk about the domestic violence I went through, why would I not have a conversation about the way that you treated me? Because I'm always trying to teach people things that I learned. So if I learned that I need to guard myself in different ways and not just with abuse, then why would I not talk about that? Because it might offend you? No, I'm not going to not talk about something just because it's going to offend you, because this is my life and I have a microscope on my life. Other people are learning from me and the things that I go through. So why would I act like I'm not going through something? Even if you're the one who did it to me, I'm not going to act like I'm not going through it. No, because on my social media platforms, I talk about my life. I talk about financial things. I talk about things because there are so many fake people on social media. Everybody wants to be a Kardashian. Everybody wants to literally look like they are perfect. Everybody wants to look like they're going to all these fancy restaurants, but not talking about how they can't pay their rent because they went to fancy restaurants all month. Everybody wants to drive the best car and not talk about what's actually going. Like if I have something going on, I'm going to talk about it. I got into a wreck. My car got totaled. I didn't know what I was going to do. And then God sent a company to give me a free car. And I documented that whole thing. Do you know how many people would try to act like they just hopped up with a new car and try to act like they just all did all this on their own? No, God did that for me. I didn't have any money. When I got into that wreck, I didn't know what was going to happen because I literally didn't have any money. I'm going through something financially right now. So I didn't have the means to get a new car. I haven't even filed my taxes yet. And literally I'm an entrepreneur where the types of things that I do, I make a lot of money doing it. But if I don't do the work for a little while, I don't make any money for however long I'm not doing the work. I know my value, so I will not go somewhere and accept $12 an hour for my work because I know what I'm worth. So the fact that I charge what I charge per hour for my services, there's been quite some time that I have not been rendering services because I'm not about to let somebody pay me bird crumbs for my services when I know what I'm worth. So with the situation that I'm going through, when I got into a wreck, I didn't know what I was going to do. My babies was in the car. First of all, I didn't know if they were hurt. Second of all, I didn't know what I was going to do about my car. I've been having this car for 3 years. I bought this car cash, and now all of a sudden, I just got into a wreck in it, and it's undrivable. But God knew what I needed, and he sent a company to literally donate a car to me the same day I got into a wreck. Like, that was nobody but God. Who can say that they lost their car and the same day they got donated another car? That was not me. Rosemary did not do that. So when I speak about my life on social media, I'm not speaking about my life so that somebody can envy me or so that somebody can be jealous of me or so that I can look better than anybody. I'm speaking about my life because there are so many fake people on social media. Why would I not be one of those real people? There are so many people who brand themselves so good on social media that you would think that they live in a $1 million luxury house and really they live in the hood. I'm not about to lie to y'all. I show y'all my real neighborhood. I show y'all my real car. I show y'all my real kids. I don't sit here and act like I'm something that I'm not. And there's not a lot of content creators doing that right now. I set myself apart because I'm not afraid to tell you guys when I'm going through certain things. And I'm also not afraid to show you guys the good things that happen to me. If something good happens to me, I'm going to post it the same way I'm going to post if something bad happens. I'm not going to only post when I got money in my pocket. I'm going to post them days when I roll out of bed and don't even feel like doing anything that day, but I'm still going to post some content. That's what I do. Like, I literally, the Rosie experience is you guys experiencing growth with me. I went through 11 years of abuse. Y'all, age 19 to 29, I was getting the crap beat out of me. And that don't sound like 11 years, but I was almost 30, so yeah. I was literally getting the crap beat out of me. If it wasn't every day, it was a few times a week. I was getting talked to crazy every single day. My kids watched a lot of crazy stuff happen to me. My kids watched a lot of bad things happen to me. Good morning, baby. My kids watched a lot of bad things happen to me. And I thought that I was shielding them, right? Until my ribs got broken, I moved out of town. And then my little kids, ages 1, 2, 3. And I had a 2-month-old, but ages 1, 2, 3. Mommy, why did daddy used to whoop you? Mommy, why did daddy put his feet on you? Like, my kids were watching this stuff and they remembered it. I didn't even know that they were seeing it. I thought he was only hitting me when they were asleep or when they were gone. But really, my kids knew what was going on the whole time. So when I left and I stopped hiding what was happening to me, I was not scared to tell anybody about it. God gave me that courage. God gave me that strength to tell people about it. Because for the 11 years, 6.5 with my ex-husband and 3.5 with my ex-boyfriend, for the 11 years I was going through abuse, nobody knew nothing. I was on social media because, like I said, I'm an influencer. I had friends and family coming over all the time because I do hair. I was doing people's hair for the low. People was getting silk presses for $45. I charge $150 for that same thing now. I was doing so much stuff for people for free or for cheap. So I always had somebody around me because I was always doing something for somebody. I was babysitting people's kids for free, or they would be like, I'll give you $20 on Friday, then Friday comes and they give me no money. So I was literally always rendering services to people. So I was always doing stuff for people, and I was working 2 jobs, and I was in college, so I never had time to myself. I had people around me all the time. Now that I moved my kids out of town and I don't have close family, I only have distant family out here, I spend so much time with God that I choose to stay away from people now. I choose to only have people around me that I know are going to feed my soul and feed my mind, because it's so easy to become consumed with everybody else's problems that you don't deal with yours. I would not have stayed in the situations I was in for so long if I wasn't so consumed with other people's problems. My little sister dating a girl who is always jumping on her, so now I'm always coming to her defense, not even knowing that my baby daddy at home jumping on me. But ain't nobody about to touch my baby sister though. You feel me? That's the way I was. Like, my older sister had 3 kids, and she was, doing what she do. She was in the streets real tough, still is. I would have her kids at my house 24/7. So I'm taking care of your 3 kids, and I don't even have kids yet. But nobody saw that type of stuff, though. Nobody saw that as, okay, maybe Rosemary needs help. People always saw it as, hey, she ain't got no kids, and she got a man in her house, so she must not need no help. We ain't gonna send no food or no money. We just gonna send our kids over here. Why would she need help? She doesn't have kids. But the people with kids is withholding their money and withholding the stuff that they have, because they expect Rosemary to just have it because she got 2 jobs and she got a nice house. She got TVs in every room. Rosemary's paying for all this stuff. Do you ever see this dude go to work? No. Like, my life has always been like that. Because I'm so strong, people have never felt like I needed help. And so now that I project what I'm going through and I talk about what I'm going through, now it's too much. Now it's like, why are you telling people that happened? Why are you posting pictures of your face when you got your jaw broke? Baby, my jaw got broke in 2019. I didn't post a picture of it until 2021 in November. November of 2021. It happened in July of 2019. That shows you right there that I'm strong, because that stuff happened to me and I just stopped going around people. I still went to work, but I didn't post no pictures on social media until my face went down. I didn't tell nobody what happened to me. If somebody saw my face looking crazy, I said I slammed my face in the car door. I didn't say my baby daddy punched me in my face 4 times while I was driving. I didn't say that. So now that I'm open to talking about what I went through, it's too much for people, and that's fine. I really don't care who I lose. What I care is that God wants me to speak, because there are women who are still in that situation. There are so many women who are still being abused. There are so many women who are still being belittled. There are so many women whose children watch them get called out of their name every day, and they still wake up next to that dude. There are so many women still dealing with that. There are so many women still taking on everybody else's problems and not dealing with their own. I see your comments on YouTube, baby, but you commenting too fast. I can't read all of it right now. But there are so many women that are still going through everything that I went through. So with that being said, I have to speak. I didn't write this book because I wanted to write a book. Y'all want to know the real reason I wrote this book? And I'm not even going to cap. It's been on my head to write this book for a long time, right? But the real reason that I wrote this book, something that I was told not to speak about, but heck, I'm going to do it. I didn't even put this in the book. But in July of 2023, I got raped. Here in Kansas City, not in Wichita, by a family friend. A family friend. And I felt so disgusted in myself, because I'm like, Rosemary, you've already been through trauma healing. You've been going to church for this amount of time. You done already gave your life to God. Like, all this stuff has happened. How did this happen to you? You've been through so much crazy stuff in your life. How did you let this happen again? So I started to blame myself. And in my long time with God, I still couldn't get any peace. Like, I felt no peace. And I'm like, God, why am I not feeling peace? I didn't do this to myself. Why am I not feeling peace? And then I wound up going to church, because this happened on the 4th of July. So however many days it was until Sunday, I wound up going to church. And everything the pastor said, I felt like he was talking to me. And I broke down crying. I was sitting in the front row. And then the pastor looked at me and he was like, what's wrong with you? Trouble don't last always. And they started playing the song, Trouble Don't Last Always. And he started singing it while he was staring straight at me. And I started bawling, tears coming all down my face. And after church, he pulled me to the side and talked to me. And I told him what happened to me. And he was like, Rosemary, you fight like hell. The pastor said this to me. He said, you fight like hell. He said, there's no reason why somebody who is your size, somebody who can protect themselves, keeps letting things happen to them. He said, I don't know your whole story, but I know a piece of your story. And he was like, you need to fight like hell. If somebody does something to you, you don't be quiet just because you don't want to wake your kids up. You wake your kids up because they might be the ones who call the police. If something happens to you, you fight like hell. And when he said that to me, something clicked in my head. And then God was like, it's time to start writing your book. I went home that night and started writing my book. I turned on my TikTok live. I started typing. I wrote half of my book the first time I sat down. The first time I sat down. Then I stepped back because tears was coming down my face. I wrote so much crazy stuff. I was like, oh Lord, I need a break. I took a break. I went back. And I started going to the library. First I did it at home. Then I went to the library. I wrote my whole book at the Mid-Continental Library off of Blue Ridge. Wrote my whole book there. I went there probably like 7 times within 4 months and wrote my whole book. Then I found an author coach in November of 2023 on social media on this group called Black Girls Write Too. She helped me learn how to promote my book. She helped me format my book. I had the idea of what I wanted my cover to look like. Her and her team created my cover for me. And now they're teaching me how to publish my book, which I've already published it on Barnes & Noble. I just am not sharing that link yet because I'm going to share that link as soon as I cancel the pre-sale link. Right now, my pre-sale link is cheaper than my Barnes & Noble link, so I want y'all to be able to get it at the discounted price, so I haven't shared my Barnes & Noble link yet. But this book was something that it needed to happen. God has had it on my heart to write a book. I've always had friends and family tell me, Rosemary, you should write a book. Like, I write long Facebook statuses and they actually make sense. I don't just be typing. I don't just be going off on people. It makes sense. I'm very poetic. I'm actually a Christian poet. There's so many things about me where I'm good with words. I can write eulogies for people. I've done it before. Like, I'm really good with my words. I'm really good with my brain. Like, my brain works like AI, for real. You give me 3 words, I could turn it into a whole story. That's how my brain works. So I wrote a book, 170,000 words. You could imagine my book is expensive for me to buy. So if it's expensive for me to buy, it's expensive for you to buy. So anybody who has a problem with the pre-sale price of $50, I'm sorry, because it goes up to $65 as soon as I post that Barnes & Noble link. My book is expensive for me to buy. I'm not going to make it $20 because I wouldn't make any money if I made it $20. I got to pay more than $20 to get my own copies. So yeah, my book is expensive, but it's expensive for a reason. And my book is actually going to be a movie. And I'm planning on leveraging it into a public speaking career. I want to go to schools, mainly colleges. I want to see if I can get some colleges to actually buy a bulk of my book and have that as one of the books that they read for that semester. I'm going to contact so many different people. I plan on starting a book tour this year. I have so much on my mind and my heart right now. I just got to make sure that the finances align with that. It's not right now, but God said it. And if God said it, it's going to happen. Because every single month, regardless of if I'm doing hair that month or not, my bills get paid. So I know for a fact that God is going to send who he needs to send to do what he needs to do so that I can make the money I need to make to do the things he told me that I'm going to do. Eventually, money will not be an issue, so I'm not concerned about that. But I just wanted to make this transparency post so that everybody could see you don't have to have it all together to start. You don't got to have $10,000 in your bank account. I know so many influencers try to tell you that. You got to save this much money to do this. I have $0. And I still wrote a whole book and paid thousands of dollars to get my book published. Because I was doing what God told me to do, and God funded the whole thing. Every time I needed something paid for, God gave me a head to do or a job. Because when you're doing what God tells you to do, he's going to fund everything. It's his ticket. If it's his plan, it's his ticket. So step out on faith and go out and do something that you never thought you could do, but you've always wanted to do. And that is when the doors will start to open for you. A 9-to-5 is cool. I worked a 9-to-5 since I was 17 years old. And before I was 17, I was going to people's house cleaning their bathroom for $10. Watching their kids for $20 a kid. I've been grinding since I was little. Middle school, literally going to all the different complexes in my neighborhood, cleaning people's bathrooms for $10. Watching their kids for $10, $20. I've always been a go-getter. selling sticks of gum for $1 each. Like, I've always been an entrepreneur my whole life. So now that I'm an entrepreneur with big girl pants, now the things that I do, it actually generates income that is going to give me money to be able to do other things. So I'm going to continue to pursue whatever it is God wants me to pursue with this book, because the end goal is a movie and a public speaking career with my book. That's the end goal for my book. And so many people are going to get what they need by reading it, because you're going to see me actually put lenses on my life from childhood to now. I literally talk about some deep things that happened to me as a kid that some family members don't even know about. I talk about really deep things. I talk about literally the music that you listen to controls the way that you see the world. Like, I literally go deep into a lot of stuff. And everything I go deep into, it'll make you step back and think about your own life. You might need a journal. I might have to make one. You might need a journal while you're reading my book, because you're going to step back and be like, dog, okay. I mean, I still listen to that. So if I still listen to that, is that why this is happening to me? Like, when I go deep into my life, it's going to make you step back and go deep into yours. That's the whole goal of my book, to free people. Because what does God say? Free people, free people. If you're free, everybody you talk to and everybody that's attached to you has to be free. You want to know why? Because you continually talk about God and talk about growth and talk about everything He's done for you. That's going to make everybody around you step back and look at their life. The people who look at it as boasting are not people who are ready to grow. Because people who are ready to grow would love to be around somebody who has grown as much as I have, because then every conversation that we have will help them grow. If anybody gets offended by a conversation that they have with somebody like me, it's because they're not ready to grow. And that's a heart posture thing. That's not a Rosemary thing. If you're offended by things I say, it's not my fault. Because I speak what God tells me to speak. And if you're not ready to hear God yet, that's a you problem, not a me problem. And that was something that I had to learn. I have siblings who I can high and by, but that's it with them. And it sucks because they were always really close to me. But if we talk, they feel offended, and I don't even say anything offensively. But, oh, we don't want to talk to a preacher. We want to talk to our sister. Or, why do you always got to bring God up in every conversation? Because God is everything. Like, I don't know how else to answer that. Why do I bring God up in every conversation? Because if it wasn't for the Waymaker, baby, I'd be dead right now, because I wanted to be. I didn't want to be here. When I moved to Kansas City, I was this close to taking myself out. And the only reason why I didn't is because I was like, who gonna take care of my kids if I take myself out? The same dude that just broke my ribs? He's not getting custody of my kids if I die. That's the only reason I didn't kill myself. My kids. That's how deep it got. So with me saying that, that shows you that God did it. I was not in a mental space to want to still be here. But I called out to God every single day. I was like, Lord, I give my life to you. God, whatever it is you want me to do, I will do it. And then I go in my car and go smoke a blunt. God, I'm going to do whatever you want. And then I pour some Hennessy inside my coffee and drink it. Like, I was literally telling God, I will do whatever I need to do. But I was still living worldly. Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion was still my favorite rappers. But I'm sitting here telling God, I'll do whatever you want me to do. He's like, no, you won't, because you won't even change the music you listen to and the things that you partake in every day. You like girls, you smoking weed, you drinking alcohol, but you telling me that you'll do whatever I want you to do. The first thing I want you to do is clean yourself up. Come to me as you are so that I can change you. Don't come to me as you are and stay as you are. That's not what I said. Because those who love me will follow me. He says that. If you love him, you'll follow him. I didn't hear nothing about no disciples smoking weed and drinking alcohol. When Jesus turned water into wine, did it say that it was fermented? Because back then they called grape juice wine. They stepped on the grapes, let it sit for a little bit and drank it. They called that wine. That wasn't alcohol. You can let it sit longer. It can get fermented. It can become alcohol. But he says don't get drunk. So even if you are trying to defend the fact that you drink, he says don't get drunk. I was getting drunk. So even if people can still defend alcohol if they want to, I don't care. That's on you. I wasn't just drinking. I was literally wake up, pour alcohol in my coffee, drink it. It was dark alcohol, right? Go to work, get off work, drink a glass of wine. Cook dinner, drink another glass of wine. About to go to bed, drink another glass of wine. I was getting drunk. Like, I was going through a full bottle of wine every 2 days. Like, I was doing too much. So God changed me. And people on TikTok watched me change. I literally started going live on TikTok talking about my life, drinking Jose Cuervo out the bottle. If anybody knows Jose Cuervo, you know that stuff is strong. I was drinking it out the bottle on TikTok Live. I was smoking blunts on TikTok Live. They should have banned me, but they didn't. I was doing so much, but I was growing. That's the thing. You can still grow. Like, people think they got to stop doing all that stuff before they come to God. I had already came to God. I had already told God I will do whatever you say. I just hadn't let go of my flesh yet. That's okay. He doesn't say you have to let go of your flesh before you come to him. He just says, be ready. You want to know why? Because he's going to circumcise your heart to where you don't even want to do that stuff anymore. It came a point in time where one day I just said, hey, Chelsea, my friend Chelsea was at my house. I said, record me pouring out my liquor. She was like, you just bought that bottle. I said, I know. It was a big blue bottle of alcohol. The video's still on TikTok. It was one of my first viral videos. I poured the whole bottle out. Then I went and got my wine, poured the rest of those out. I went and got all the alcohol I had in my kitchen, poured all of it out, threw all the bottles away, and I got rid of my weed too. I had a stash of weed in my closet. I didn't put that on TikTok, but I got rid of that too. One day, I just felt like this is enough, and I just let go that day. I didn't stop smoking and stop drinking when I gave my life to God. I stopped smoking and stopped drinking when God told me to. He said, first, I just want to make sure that you actually hear. Are you actually with me? And when he realized I was actually with him, he said, okay, now I need you to stop doing this, stop doing that, stop. I changed the music I listened to. I changed the female I was hanging around. I changed everything that I was doing, but it took a minute. I gave my life to God first, and then I did that stuff. Then I got baptized. The rest is history. But that's all on TikTok. Like, I literally showed my life, and I still continue to show my life because I'm not perfect. And I never want somebody to feel like they have to be perfect to get God. You don't have to be perfect to serve God. He loves you in your imperfections because nobody is perfect without the Son. If you don't have the Son, you're naturally going to sin. We are sinful by nature. Adam and Eve messed that up for us. We're sinful by nature. We want to see how close we can get to the line by nature. That's natural for us. But God, we got a Savior who was without sin, who came to this earth just so that he could spread the good news and then be crucified for our sins. That's the only reason he was born, and he knew that from birth. You were literally only born so that you could walk through this life helping people, and those same people you helped are going to kill you. He knew that, and he still did the job. So if he could do that job, why could I not sit here and let people crucify me verbally? You don't believe what I'm saying? That's cool. You think I'm doing too much? That's cool. You got a problem with the way I look? That's cool. But I'm still going to spread some Jesus, though. You got a problem with me? That's cool. Nobody can hurt me. I'm literally scared of nothing. So much bad has happened to me in my life. Why would I be scared of somebody now? Now that I know who I am, now that I know who my Savior is, why would I be scared of anybody? When I used to always be timid and scared of everything, everything was happening to me because fear is not of God. That's of the devil. Confusion is not of God. That's of the devil. So now that I'm no longer confused about who I am, why would I allow somebody else to confuse me or to scare me? I'm not confused no more. I know who I am. Remember I said at the beginning, know who you are first? I know who I am now. No devil in hell or no human who, even if it's a human who follows God, nobody can make me feel like I'm not who God says I am. Nobody can make me feel like I don't know God. Nobody can make me feel like Holy Spirit doesn't reside within me, and nobody can make me feel like my testimony doesn't matter. And everybody should feel like that. There should not be one person on this earth who feels like they are not important, who feels like the trials and tribulations they are going through is going to consume them. Nobody should feel like that. Because at the end of the day, Jesus died for us to not have to feel like that. He was crucified just for helping people. He was going around literally healing the blind, healing people from blood diseases. This woman was hemorrhaging for like 12 years, bleeding for 12 years. And when you bled back in the biblical days before Jesus came, you were considered as unclean. So if you had a period for a week, you were unclean. Everything that you touched needed to be cleaned or thrown away. Everything you sat on needs to be cleaned or thrown away. Your husband couldn't sleep with you, and nobody was supposed to touch you. She was bleeding for 12 years. So people were scared to touch her for 12 years. She had faith that God could help heal her. She touched him, not even his body. She touched his clothes and was healed immediately. That's the kind of faith that I have for God. I don't see the cash right now. I don't see the growth in relationships yet. But I serve a big God, and I know that God is planting seeds. I'm not planting seeds. I'm just the vessel. Every time I open my mouth, I'm just the vessel. Me showing my personality mixed with what God has for me to say, I'm just the vessel. He gave me this personality. He gave me this mouth. I'm just the vessel. So I'm going to continue to spread the good news. I'm going to continue to share what God has for me. And I want people to see what God is doing for me, because he can do it for you too. One of my favorite influencers on TikTok is Keith Lee. And he is a very good example of God will do it for you too. He started his TikTok, I think he was like an MMA fighter, but he wasn't getting no more fights because he had lost a fight. So he started door dashing, or one of those type of like ride share things. His wife was pregnant. He didn't know what he was going to do for money, and he was like, forget it, I'm going to start vlogging. He started vlogging their life. It wasn't really getting too many views, but it was getting a lot of views. Tell me why this man started doing food reviews. He lived in Vegas. He started doing food reviews in Vegas and wound up getting millions of followers. And then people started asking him to come to their city. Now this man, he's friends with Kevin Hart. He got deals with Subway and other places like that. He literally is giving people thousands of dollars every time he comes to their place. Not just when he comes to their city. He don't just give out a couple thousand when he comes to a city. He gives out thousands of dollars to every restaurant he goes to. And he goes to multiple restaurants. God is funding this for him. He's not fighting anymore. He's not making money off of MMA. He's making money off of social media. God is funding this for him. But the funny thing is, he started off showing us his life. Like, he was homeless. Him and his family didn't have anything. But he stayed on TikTok, though. He stayed showing his growth. And I was already showing my growth before I started following Keith Lee, but he's definitely a testimony to show me that showing my growth is a good thing. Because when I do get where God has taken me, people can always go back and watch them old videos of when I didn't have nothing. People can go back and watch it, and they can be inspired. That's my whole goal, is to inspire people, because I get inspired every day. I see something, it inspires me to create content. I see something, it inspires me to say something, to do something. So why would I not inspire other people when God has sent other people to inspire me every single day? So that's the whole thing with social media. You never need to get too comfortable with just being who you are. You need to always be comfortable with sharing who you are. Yes, be who you are, but share it. Why would you be a diamond and just hide yourself in the rough? You're a diamond. You need to rub up against all the sandpaper until you shine bright. Keep rubbing up against sandpaper. Why would you just stay buried in dirt when you're a whole diamond? You need to rub yourself off on everybody that you walk past. Keep rubbing yourself off, and eventually the whole world will see that you were a diamond the whole time. But right now, if you're still in the rough, you got so much dirt still on you, nobody can see that you're a diamond. Only the people close to you can see it. You're supposed to share that with the world. God created you for the world to see. He didn't create you for only you and your close friends and family to see. That's not what you're here for. And it's selfish of you to try to hide yourself. But yeah, that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to get off of here now. If you missed this whole live, it's 38 minutes long. Go back and watch the beginning. But God is trying to tell y'all something. He's always trying to tell me something. But he uses me to tell people stuff all the time. And I pray that you receive what you needed to receive from this live. God bless you. You have a wonderful day.